Why is free software important? What does free software mean? With software, there are just two possibilities. Either the users control the program or the program controls the users. The first case is free software, because in order for the users to control the program, they need certain freedoms. So if they have the freedoms, it's free software and the users control the program. If the users don't have these essential freedoms, if any part of one of them is missing, then the users don't effectively control the program, and the program therefore controls the users. But there's always somebody, the owner, that controls the program. And through the program, this entity exercises power over the users. So a non-free or proprietary program, which we also call user subjugating software, is an instrument of unjust power for one entity over whoever is foolish enough to use it. This is why non-free software is bad, why it shouldn't exist. Because it's the users that deserve to control their own computing, and not this owner. Now, if you don't know how to program, you might wonder, what good does this do for me? One of the 4 essential freedoms is the freedom to study and change the source code to make the program do your computing the way you wish. If you don't know how to program, well, if you're really strongly motivated, you could learn. But what if you're not so strongly motivated? Or what if you have no talent in that area? Well, then you're not going to exercise this freedom directly. But you could pay someone else to exercise it for you. People sometimes used to pay me to change free software for them. There are other people. I don't do this nowadays. Other people do. And this is a free market. You can choose who to pay. Of course, it's got to be someone who wants the job, but you'll find people who want the job. And so this way, you can get the program changed as you wish. But suppose you don't even bother to do that. The fact that the users have control over the program collectively as well is helping every user all the time. Because the freedoms also include the freedom to redistribute copies with or without changes. So if a group of users want to, they can work together to change the program to do what they jointly want to make it do. And they can do this because they're free to redistribute copies with their changes amongst themselves. And they're also free to distribute copies to the public too. So when they have a version they think is good to use, they can say to everyone, come get this, if they choose to. If you're a non-programmer and you're using a free program, then you didn't write it yourself. You got it from other people who developed it. And probably they use it too. Which means they don't want it to have any malicious functionalities. And as they from time to time look at parts of the source code, for whatever reason, to add a feature, to fix a bug, they're thinking about what this source code does, which means that they have a chance to notice if there is anything that hurts the users, whether intentional, someone put it in deliberately, or an accidental error, which is the usual case. And then they can fix it. So you benefit from the fact that the programmer users are making sure this program is safe for its users, for them. That makes it safe for you too. So with free software, users get to have control over their computing. But that assumes you do your computing by running a program in your computer, which is the way people did it generally 10 years ago, and still can do it if they think about this. But many people who aren't aware of this issue are being systematically lured into entrusting their computing to some server, a practice that we call software as a service, or SaaS. And that's why we say, don't SaaS me, because it's a fundamental mistake to ever use software as a service. If you let your computing be done by somebody else's server, then he controls your computing and you can't. It's that simple. So this is another threat to computing freedom. You can't have control of your computing if it's done by the program somebody else chose to put into his server. It's proper for him to have control over the software in his server. It's his computer. He should be able to decide what it does. But if he controls what his computer does, you can't control what his computer does. But it's even worse than that. Suppose we both use his service. Well, you can't possibly control it and at the same time I control it. You might want A and I want B. We can't both make this. It's impossible for you to make the software in that server do what you like, and for me simultaneously to make it do what I like, unless we could put in different copies. If I could have my copy that I control, and you could have your copy that you control, then it would be like old-fashioned time-sharing systems, and yeah, then we could both have control and use the same computer, but that's not what web services do. Free software means free as in freedom. We're not talking about price. We don't mean gratis software. Price is just a little detail, not important ethically. Free as in freedom software, Libre software, is defined by 4 essential freedoms that the user must have, that all users of software deserve to have. Freedom 0 is the freedom to run the program as you wish for whatever purpose. Freedom 1 is the freedom to study the source code of the program and change it so it does your computing as you wish. Freedom 2 is the freedom to make and distribute exact copies of the program when you wish. And freedom 3 is the freedom to make and distribute copies of your modified versions when you wish.